Let's all take a deep breath together. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale. Exhale. Don't you already feel better? So good. Does anybody here have allergies? Raise your hand. Yeah, a few. Does anybody here have arthritis or pain? A few, yes. So oftentimes we've gone through health having various conditions that have forced us to go on a healing journey. And what if we could look at some of these symptoms and decode them and actually understand the message that they're here to tell us? What if we could understand what those symptoms were trying to tell us and ask us to do? So oftentimes we have in our lives or with others around us migraines, headaches, different types of skin conditions, digestive system issues that really plague us, and they become the new normal. And it doesn't need to be that way. And for those of you who don't have any health conditions, you say, you're feeling really good, amazing. But what if you can have even more energy, more vitality, more passion, more creativity, and wake up feeling refreshed and healthy and happy and ready to jump into your day? And for those who do have conditions, we're often told it's genetic, it's normal, it's your age, it's something you have to learn to live with. Nobody wants to hear that, right? And so today we're going to deep dive into some of these areas and see what we can do about it. When I was younger, I grew up in a martial arts dojo. And that was amazing for me because it gave me a sense of purpose. I was a very shy child. I was an immigrant. I didn't speak the language. It was very hard for me to integrate into the society, have friends, and really feel good in my body and in who I was. And martial arts was something that really helped me develop confidence. Now, confidence is not the same as self-esteem. Confidence, you can develop a skill and feel really good about that. Self-esteem is about your worthiness. Are you worthy of love, of safety? Are you feeling that you are enough, right? So these are some of the areas where mindset patterns start to be developed and belief systems in your life. And when I was training in martial arts, I had an amazing mentor and instructor, and he really instilled in us a good mindset. Because of my background in low self-esteem and being very shy and an introvert in a new country, however, I really felt that it was difficult to have the capacity to feel worthy and good enough. This was a huge issue for me. So even though I had confidence, I didn't have the self-esteem. And what I did have, however, was a winner's mindset that came with the self-confidence, and that was wonderful. However, what I didn't understand was behind that was something not so healthy driving that. It was a sense of perfectionism. I really strove to be the best student, the best daughter, the best friend, the best in athletics, in school, and this was really driven by this need to prove my self-worth and my value. And this is actually quite detrimental. Do we have any perfectionists in the room? Yeah. yes. So maybe some of this is landing here. Yeah.
Everything that is written there.
Yes.
The martial arts.
Including
the winners and then including the perfection. I'm getting goosebumps right.
Yeah, Jasmine, yeah. I mean, behind a lot of perfectionism and the winner's mindset, you're driven by the need to prove your worthiness, your value. Yeah. So what started to happen when I was 13, my right hand became very stiff. And then quickly it started to hurt. And then very quickly after that, I had a hard time moving it. And the pain became quite intense. I had developed juvenile arthritis. And it became so bad, I actually lost the use of my right hand. I couldn't even hold a pencil to write my name. So I had to learn to use my left hand for everything. And that was really challenging at that time. And I questioned why. Why did this happen? I'm training, I'm healthy, what I thought was healthy, and I was doing everything possible to make sure that I was at the top of my game in so many areas of life. I just didn't understand the message that my body was trying to send me. My doctor said it was genetics. My grandparents have arthritis, my great-grandparents, most of them had arthritis. So it's unfortunate you started so young, but this is life. Here are your medications, this is what you need to take, this will help control the pain and the stiffness. I didn't take the medications, I instead tried to understand what was going on. I tried visualization, I tried homeopathy, I tried different physiotherapy for my hand, I did lots of action-oriented things, but none of them really made a difference. Until I had a really profound insight. And it must have been some grace of God moment, because it's not my normal thinking at 13, 14, 15. I thought, why am I pushing myself so hard to be the best at everything? Is it because I want to have the gold medal? No. Is it because I want to feel safe and loved? That's what's behind it. That drive to be the best came from such an unhealthy place. And it really created so much inner tension, that created inflammation. And after several years of pushing myself that hard, my body was falling apart. And arthritis oftentimes comes from a mindset of perfectionism, driven by a need to prove your value and your worthiness. So it comes back to that issue of self-love. As soon as I had this insight that the message of the symptom, this arthritis, was that I need to love myself more, that I don't need to be the best in whatever that meant for me, I had this incredible aha moment. And very quickly, my hand completely healed and reversed. It was amazing. Actually, within 24 hours, the next morning I woke up and my hand was pain-free for the first time in 3 years. I got the use of my hand back. It was a complete reversal. And the doctor had no idea what happened. They didn't understand. I understood, but he didn't believe it. And that was the first moment where I thought, okay, there's a connection between what I'm thinking, what I'm believing, and how my body is reacting. And it really helped me go on to this new direction of looking at our health and our inner well-being, overall mind, body, spirit together, to see how we can even improve wherever we are on our healing journey. So let's talk about some of the factors that impact health. The obvious ones: nutrition, exercise, environment, peace of mind, and community heart connections. It's also a big one. Having friends, family that you feel connected to, that you can love and that love you. Personal satisfaction, living your values and your dreams and your goals and your passion. And genetics. So genetics is often cited as a really important factor in your physical health. And while that could be true, that there's genetics involved, there's something else that's just as important, if not more important. It's mindset. It's the belief systems you inherit. It's the stress reactions that you see your family with that you then take on. It's your limiting beliefs about various topics in your life. These are all things that you also inherit besides genetics. There have been a lot of studies done throughout the years where researchers have looked at children who grow up in homes with both biological children and adopted children. And they were looking at long-term effects to see if there was a difference between the health of the children. So for example, if there was heart disease in the family, they wanted to know if both biological and the adoptive children would take on the heart disease. And what they found was over 90% developed the same conditions, which told the researchers genetics is not the most important factor. It's not even close. It's actually the mindset. It's how you feel, how you respond to stress, what you internalize, the belief systems and thinking patterns that you inherit and take on from the environment you grow up in. that we see in childhood, that we receive in childhood. That's what we get back to. And when we can make those connections and start making shifts internally and come back to a place of self-love, wow, you can really make a huge difference in how that expresses physically, mentally, emotionally. It's incredible. So let's talk briefly about the role of pain. It's very hard to hear this, but pain is actually your friend. It gives you a warning sign. It says, hi, I'm here, something's off, please pay attention and do something about this. It's there to help you get better from wherever you've been imbalanced. So some of the main reasons for pain: accidents, fall, break, physical trauma, improper movement, poor posture, repetitive strain injuries, not enough movement even. Toxins or poisons in the body, such as mold, parasites, bacteria. And of course, imbalancing mindsets and mental stress. Not allowing yourself to feel and process emotions, bottling them up. That's a huge reason for pain. Some of the mindsets that negatively impact our health include perfectionism, over-responsibility, suppressed emotions, the fear of failure, low self-worth, lack of boundaries, and all-or-nothing thinking and catastrophizing. Do you recognize yourself in any of these here? Anyone? Yes? Yes, a few people. So some of the things that really help us shift that internal mindset, it's not enough to visualize. It's not enough to tell ourselves some positive affirmations. While that really helps to create a new habit, new neural patterning and circuitry in the mind, you really do need to have a strong goal and a why. So this is a huge help. Number 2, trust your intuition. When everybody else tells you you're crazy, you're wrong, this is not going to work, trust yourself, believe in yourself. If you intuitively feel this is the right path, go for it. This is your one life. You make the decisions. You are in charge. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Community support. Surround yourself with the people who believe in you, who see you, who hear you, who will support what you are doing, and do not give energy to anything else. Don't allow the doubt to creep in. Really have an incredible team of people around you, whether they're your friends, therapists, family, or whoever you select. Surround yourself with the best people who will keep pushing you forward in the direction of your vision. In my 30s, I had a second bout of arthritis. And this time I was wondering, okay, I feel good. I think my mindset is in a good place. What else could it be? I went through a process of elimination. So I came down to toxins. And I had a lot of tests done and nothing really came up. And I was thinking intuitively, something doesn't feel right. I feel like there's something internally that's not quite right. But what could it be? So I did what is known as a bioresonance health scan. This is an incredible piece of technology. It's a bit like having a PET scan, CAT scan, MRI scan, and blood test in one, but even more detailed. And what this showed was that I had certain digestive parasites that were creating toxins in my system, causing so much inflammation that it went into the joints, causing the arthritis. This was very surprising. And as soon as I cleared the parasites, the arthritis reversed completely. So I had 2 personal examples of different reasons for the symptoms. And because I was able to understand the message and make the connection and do something about it, it was easy to reverse. It can be so easy to reverse symptoms. Before I get to the next slide, I want to share another moment. A few years prior to this, before I had ever heard about bioresonance, I was on a flight from Europe back to Canada, and I had such intense eye pain that I was just trying not to scream in pain. It was so bad. I don't know if any of you have been in a situation where you feel really awful and you're in public and you can't get home and you're just praying to get there and hold it together until you can. As soon as I got off the plane, I went straight to the hospital. It was that bad. And after every test, they couldn't find anything. And this went on for 3 years. And the pain was so bad, I was functionally blind for 3 years because I couldn't open my eyes for over 20 hours every day. I just had them closed. And eventually the doctors thought I was lying or was psychosomatic, or I was extremely stressed because every test was negative. Every test was negative. They said, you're fine. Maybe you're making it up. We don't know what's happening. Everything is fine. But nothing was fine because I felt terrible. And then somebody told me about bioresonance. And I went in and did a scan. It was a medical doctor who did this scan. And she said to me, I know exactly why your eyes are hurting. There's a lot of other issues going on, but let's deal with the eye pain first. And she said to me, you have a liver parasite, and the toxin from that parasite works like an acid, and it has deteriorated the epithelial lining of your eyeballs. So it's like having the skin on your flesh gone. So every time you open your eyes, every tiny dust particle hitting your eye feels like a jab. It's incredibly painful. And so we worked to detox it using this technology and some dietary courses and herbs and different things, but this was the main thing. And actually, it helped. It was the first thing that really helped. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever been in a situation where you've had such intense pain for so long, you're really starting to wonder, I don't think I can go on like this. It's so bad. And I felt like I got my life back. It was incredible to feel like I can open my eyes, I can see, I can breathe, I can walk. I'm not cringing, I'm not holding it together to get through the day now. It's amazing. So let's talk briefly about bioresonance. It's a technology that uses electromagnetic frequencies that is super gentle, and it measures the unique frequency of each of your cells, your lung cell, your liver cell, your brain cells, and it compares it against a database of healthy ranges. If your cells are vibrating at a lower range, it's telling us that that cell is underfunctioning. So if your lung cell vibrates at 72 hertz and the healthy frequency is 72 hertz, great, you have all the energy you need for your lungs to do everything it needs to do. But if it's underfunctioning, it's at 60 or 50 hertz, then we investigate why. Is it parasites, infection, inflammation, mold, bacteria? Is it stress? The technology also tells you if it's stress-related as opposed to something physical. It's that detailed. Because even your emotions carry a certain vibrational frequency signature. It's a unique fingerprint. And what I love about it is so gentle. It's non-invasive. It's easy to use. It can be done online or in person. And it is so soothing and calming for the system. It's wonderful. This is an interesting comparison here. So you'll notice that on the left side you have an MRI scan of the brain. And on the right side is a bioresonance scan. And you'll notice little black squares showing low frequency, low vibration, low energy areas. The same place where there's a tumor here. And this is simply by measuring your frequency. And this is a bit more intensive, the MRI scan. It's very accurate. I want to share a few case studies with you, just to show how incredible we are, how incredible you are, how amazing it is to get your health back, to feel alive with energy, and what is possible for our bodies and our minds. I had a gentleman come in and say to me, Yvette, everything is fine. I feel great. I'm just curious to see what the scan will show me. And I said, okay, let's see. It's very unusual because people don't normally come in for a scan to see what I might find, but he did. And true to his word, he was a very healthy 60-something-year-old man, martial artist. He was great. He was in good shape. The only thing that came up was a little bit of inflammation in the arteries on the right side of his brain. That's it. So it wasn't a big deal. However, what the scan said is that it had been going on for over 20 years. So although it didn't seem like a big deal, that was a long time. And I asked this gentleman, do you have headaches? He said no. Do Do you have eye strain? No. Do you have any physical symptoms? He said no. I said, okay, well, this is a little strange, but all right. I recommend you come back for some balancing frequencies to reduce the inflammation, which he did. After the third session, everything looked great. I sent him home. I said, wonderful, you don't need to come back. You're good. Wonderful. Enjoy your life. The next day, he called me, and I could hear him choking back tears. He was on the phone trying not to cry. And I thought, oh my gosh, what happened? And I said to him, is everything okay? And he said, okay, Yvette, I'm going to tell you the truth. I lied to you when I said there was nothing wrong. I'm sorry, but I lied. The truth is, I've had a headache on the right side of my head for over 20 years, and I've seen every doctor in the country and the neighboring countries, and no one could find out why it was hurting. And this morning I woke up pain-free for the first time in 20 years. So I want to say thank you. And at this point we were both crying because it was so beautiful. And I know what it's like to get your life back like that, to finally feel good in your body. I had another lady come in, and something brand new showed up in the scan with her. It said that she had radiation poisoning and that all the cilia had been burnt off. I'd never seen that in the scan before, so I had to ask her, maybe you can help me understand. This is what it's showing. Do you have any idea what this means? And she sat back in her chair and said, wow, I can't believe you found that, because I just had my last radiation treatment for cancer a week ago, and all the hair, this is a wig, and all the hair in the nostrils, my ears, everything has fallen out. And it's one of the reasons I have so much dripping in my nose, because there's no hair holding anything back. And I thought, wow, I can't believe it picked up even that level of detail. Let's talk a little bit about allergies. So allergies are here to protect us. They're here to protect us if we've had a psychological, emotional trauma. And I'll describe that with a beautiful example here. Allergies are also due to a high level of toxicity that you're reacting to. So we had a lady come into the clinic, and she was deeply, deeply allergic to white flowers and oranges. And it had been going on for a number of years. We asked her many questions, trying to understand why this started, where it started, what was causing it, had she realized any patterns around the allergy symptoms. And she said, well, really the stressful thing that she remembers around that time is that her husband died. And that was very stressful, but other than that, there was nothing else she could think of. We're not born with allergies. We're born able to eat and breathe, walk barefoot on the grass, be out smelling the flowers in the summer. Pollen shouldn't bother us. Fruit should not bother us. Nuts and seeds should not bother us. But this lady nearly died several times because she accidentally got too close to those particular flowers and the oranges. So what we decided to do is to boost her immune system, reduce the inflammation, and give her a bit more resilience so that if she came across that, she wouldn't have such a strong reaction to it, while at the same time still trying to understand the pattern behind the allergy. One day, when she was in the treatments, she had a memory, and she sat up and she said, wow, I just remembered where I saw the oranges and the white flowers. When I told you that my husband died, I didn't tell you all the details. I came home from work, I opened the door, and he had hung himself in our living room, and next to his body, on the dining room table, was a bowl of oranges and a vase of white flowers. And she only then, at that moment, remembered this. It was such a shock that her brain completely deleted this memory. The allergy was an association between death and oranges and white flowers. That is how powerful our minds are. Now, for years after, she was deathly afraid psychologically, subconsciously, of these two items because of that association to death. That's how intense her shock was in that moment, which is completely understandable. Now, the interesting part here is as soon as she realized that connection, guess what happened to her allergy? It reversed. It reversed. I checked up with her 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, no allergies whatsoever. She was perfectly fine, smelling the white flowers, eating the oranges again. Isn't it incredible how our minds work? It's there to protect us. So when you have an allergy, if it's not due to toxicity, ask if it's due to some psychological trauma, stress. It could be something so simple even. I had a client who came in, she was really allergic to dog hair. And I asked her, is this with every dog? And she thought about it. She said, no one ever asked me that before. And she says, actually, no. One dog in particular. And I asked her, are you afraid of that dog? Do you not like that dog breed? And she said, no, I have no trouble with the dog. And I said, how do you feel about the owner? She said, I can't stand the owner. And I said, okay, well, do you think there's a possibility there's a connection here? And then she thought about it, she said, yeah, actually, I've been projecting the negative feeling I have about the owner onto the dog because every time I see the owner, the dog is with the owner. And that actually cleared up her allergy as well. It can be so easy, that simple. Another reason for the allergies, the toxicity, we're living in a climate where there's so much pollution, pesticides, herbicides, the air we breathe. I mean, it comes in through the chemicals in the shampoos, in our skin cream, in our food. It's everywhere. I mean, we do so much to have clean air, clean food, clean skin care, but it's still there. So our bodies need to be a little bit helped along to detox every now and then. It's so important because when you build up a lot of the toxic chemicals and compounds, eventually this could result in some sensitivities. We talked about the arthritis. So mindset patterns. I don't know if everyone here is familiar with Dr. Mate Gabor. He talks a lot about, yes, I see a lot of nods, mindset and very specific thinking patterns in relation to symptoms. And this is really clear in the scan as well. So whenever I see somebody coming in with, we talked about arthritis, oftentimes there's a bit of that perfectionist streak underneath that. And then when you dig deeper, what's beneath the perfectionism? So we're starting to make those connections from the physical symptom back into the mindset, the belief systems. So let's talk about MS. MS is another one. So every single client I've seen who has multiple sclerosis, all of them without fail, are the nicest people in the world. They're so sweet. Everyone loves them. They never say no. They don't know how to set boundaries. They don't know how to ask for their needs to be met. They would rather die than say no to somebody or cause somebody else to feel like they're not heard or seen. It's really an interesting pattern. And there are many examples. I'm just taking these two right now to share with you. So when you see certain conditions coming up, if it's not due to poison or an accident, the next question is, okay, well, is it something psychological, stress-based, psychosomatic, and what's the connection? Because when you start to make those connections, wow, you really become insightful and you notice those patterns in yourself so much more easily. And then you can make a choice to help yourself move back into a state of wholeness and soothing and just feeling really good again, rather than going through the pain and doing it the long way. Another thing we see in the scan is your auric field. So this is an example of a typical auric field of anybody that comes in and does a scan in the beginning. So you see a little bit of a pink weakness here. So something is impacting the energy of the person. And then after we do some detoxing and energizing, the aura naturally becomes strong again. So what are some of the reasons that would impact our energy field? Mindset, right? When you feel alive and passionate, your auric field is wide and bright and strong. People will feel you walking into a room. But when you're scared, you're nervous, or you're angry, it contracts. You're very small. And what is an aura, really? Well, when you have a thought, it creates an electrical charge that's measurable. When you have an emotion or feeling, it creates a magnetic field that's also measurable. So your electromagnetic field, in common terms, is usually referred to as an aura, and it's completely measurable. And every time you have a thought that creates a certain feeling in your body, it immediately sends a certain cascade of hormones, chemicals, and essences into your bloodstream, which then creates inflammation or relaxation. Parasympathetic versus sympathetic nervous system gets turned on. It's really incredible how fast that happens and how quickly you can redirect your energy by choosing to have certain thoughts instead of letting yourself spiral into something negative that will take energy from you. So what else impacts our health? There's two types of stress. The positive stress that pushes you to grow. You're out of your comfort zone, and that's okay. That's not a bad stress. It makes us grow and come alive. And then the negative stress where you contract, where you get stuck in the fear or the anger, and then you lose energy. So this you want to really be aware of. Your mindset impacts your health tremendously. Mold. We've heard many speakers talk about mold in the last 1-2 days. Mold is something that is almost everywhere. And anytime you have water damage in a building, for example, you have mold. It's also on your food. It's also in the air that you breathe. And in climates where you have a lot of water, this can be a really huge issue. And the thing is, we don't see 99% of the mold that we're breathing in. Most of it is in the walls. Most of it is microscopic. By the time you actually see mold, it's everywhere. And it's so poisonous. It creates like the effect of having bubble gum in your system. It gunks up your system. It slows down their mind. A lot of symptoms people have, whether it's brain fog, or having a hard time getting clarity in the morning, brain fog, joint issues, feeling very slow to get started, losing your passion. This often is related to mold poisoning in the system. And once you start to clear that, it helps clear up everything else. Parasites are another really interesting thing. They're everywhere also. Nobody wants to think that they have parasites, but they don't discriminate. A parasite does not care if you are a dog, if you're a cat, or a human being. They're just looking for a nice, warm host to feed off of. And we live in symbiotic relationship with many types of parasites and bacteria. And as long as the numbers are really low and our immune system is strong, it's not an issue. But when our immunity is low, when our mind is not feeling at its best, then it has a chance to proliferate, because what happens? You change the conditions of your system. You get inflamed, you get more acidic, and yay, that's the perfect space for a parasite or bacteria to grow, right? But luckily, there's a lot you can do to actually reverse this and detox. You have both physical and emotional toxins, and of course, disharmonic EMFs. So we talk a lot about electromagnetic frequencies, and we have to be careful with the radiation around us from our phones, from the microwaves, from Wi-Fi. But there's another kind of EMF, the harmonious one, from our planet, from the stars, from our sun. So that's why it feels so good when we stand barefoot on grass, on soil, on sand, because it really soothes the nervous system. That's the EMF you do want. So it's beautiful to do what has been recommended by several speakers already, to go and stand barefoot outside, get the natural sun in your eyes in the morning. Help yourself by helping Mother Nature reset your pineal gland, right? It creates beautiful patterns in your circadian rhythm again. Your breathing relaxes. It's wonderful. Making a habit out of being barefoot outside every day, getting natural light every morning before you turn on your computer. It's really amazing. Such a good morning routine to have. So we talked a little bit about mold. What I want to share with you is if you do see mold in your home or your environment, do not try to rub it off with soap or water. The moment you touch it, it releases millions of mold spores that you're then breathing in, going into your bloodstream, your nasal passages, your digestion, your hair, your eyes. Don't touch the mold. However, there are 3 items that you can use to deactivate the mold and kill it before you clean it off. And it's really easy. So I want to share that with you. 1, you can use UVC lights. They're powerful, they're incredible, and anything the light touches, it kills bacteria, it kills parasites. So when you have the light, you want to make sure that you leave the room and you remove any plants or animals from the room as well. Okay? The second is vinegar. 20% or higher concentration to clean your surfaces. Naturally cleans. It's a beautiful, beautiful way of making sure that you don't have mold on your utensils. You can put a little bit into your washing machine. So it's fantastic for this. Hydrogen peroxide is another option. Food-grade hydrogen peroxide. You can wash your fruits and vegetables in here with some water, and it'll remove the parasites and the bacteria and the mold. And it makes your food so much healthier to eat and easier to ingest.
What is the proportion?
So put about 1 capful of peroxide into a bowl of water, maybe a liter or so. Yeah.
What? Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, so about 1 liter of water to 1 capful of peroxide.
What is 1 cup?
A capful, so like this cap.
Oh,
Yes, this cap. Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. You can also spray it into the shower head and put it down your drains to make sure the pipes are being cleaned as well. So when you're under the shower, you're also getting clean water on your skin. So what does thriving look like? For me, thriving is having the energy to play with your children, your family, your friends. It's getting up excited, having just the passion for life again. It's really worth its weight in gold. How about you? What is thriving for you guys? Just shout out a few answers. What does it look like?
My current definition of thriving is to be in the moment. I think that's the best way to thrive in my body and in my mind, because when you're in the moment, that's when magic happens. Like I experienced it yesterday when I was trying to put things together and put a meeting and everything changed, but what happened was something that I had not even imagined. So I think living in the moment is the best you can thrive, because what you can conceive is only that much. But if you live in the moment, you are attracting such high vibrations that the universe wants to give you so much more.
Yeah, yeah. And that's an incredible mindset to have. Yeah. Everything flows from that space.
Surrendering.
Yeah, surrendering, allowing, accepting. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. So whether you face any health challenges or already feel really good wherever you are, you can always do something to improve, to create more energy, more balance. And that frees up energy for creativity, for passion, for your purpose. So let's do a little bit of a practice right now. Everybody close your eyes and just take a few deep breaths on your own. And place your right hand over your heart space. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale once more. Exhale. Now just imagine what the feeling of gratitude and appreciation is like. What does that feel like in your body? Deep appreciation, deep gratitude. Imagine how good the following feels. Just imagine it in your mind. Feel your muscles relax and the tension melt away. Remember the smell of your mom or grandmother's cooking from childhood. Feel the tender, soft touch of a loved one caressing your arm with warmth and affection. Feel how wonderful it is to slip into a warm bath at the end of the day, totally relaxing. Feel how wonderful it is to walk barefoot on the sand, listening to the ocean waves coming in. Let's talk to our bodies from this space. Thanking our brain, our heart, our liver, our lungs. Thank you, body. And let's say all together, I am resilient, perfect, and whole. I trust my body's ability to heal and thrive. I am grateful for my strong and healthy body. Beautiful. And you can open your eyes when you're ready. Don't you all feel better already? So some resources I highly recommend that talk more deeply about this topic. The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And When the Body Says No by Dr. Mate Gabor. They really go deep with inspiring stories that reflect how powerful we are, the incredible recoveries we can make, and how much more potential we can activate and achieve.